Hey everybody, Mike Slifer here in the First Alert Forecast Center with another First Alert Weather Extra. Tonight we're going to be talking about a brief cool down, and it is brief, the return of more warmth. We're going to be talking about the tropics. We'll talk a bit about fall foliage, and of course we'll talk about where we've been so far this month and how things typically look for the month of October. So far this month, you'll note a lot of red squares on the calendar the second half of the month. Temperatures, for the most part, have been running above normal as of late, and that's after a cool start to September. If you'll recall, all the way back on the 7th of September, the high was only 67 degrees. It's been a little while since we've seen anything quite that cool, but that's going to change as we get into the middle of the week. It was the middle of last week where we had some meaningful rainfall, and we've been dry since. And it looks like things are going to stay dry, not only through the end of the month, but perhaps even into the first week of October. 65.7 is the average temperature that is so far this month, meaning we are running above normal by about a half degree. We have seen 3.4 inches of rain in the Hartford area, down 0.82 inches by the time all is said and done tomorrow. Our deficit for the month will be just shy of 1 inch. So another dry month, not just for the Hartford area, though. How about Bridgeport? The monthly deficit approaching an inch, but it's that deficit back to the start of the year, almost 12 inches, almost down a foot of rain compared to normal. And looking ahead, our rain chances are 0 for the next 7 days. We are not expecting anything, no showers, nothing. It is going to be a very dry stretch here across the state. We could certainly use some rain, but we are giving you the first alert, and now's the time to break out the watering cans, get ready to make sure the mums are watered and any other plants that you might have that need that water. Get on top of watering them and make sure they stay watered too. We'll take it live right now to Rycam and Rocky Hill, looking north to the Hartford skyline. Great visibility out there. We still see clouds overhead, and that has been certainly the theme, especially through the second half of the day. Our ICAM view in New Haven right now, it's 65 degrees with calm winds in the Elm City. And we'll take you live right now to New London, southeastern Connecticut, 57 degrees with calm winds. So temperatures are certainly down a little bit. But what's preventing them from falling quite as quickly as they might typically is the cloudiness that we've been dealing with. Over the last 6 hours, we've had at least some cloudiness overhead. A lot of this is high cloud cover, cirrus clouds. So we had some dim sunshine, some filtered sunshine. And this is all in relation to Imelda, which is currently off the coast of Florida. So it's making a bit of a close pass to the Florida Peninsula before it eventually ends up getting pushed out to sea. Umberto is just to its east. So we have been watching both of these storms, giving you the first alert, of course, when both formed. And let's take you there right now. Imelda currently has winds sustained 65 miles per hour. It is a tropical storm. If it can strengthen a little bit more, which it's forecast to do, it'll become a Category 1 hurricane. It needs to have sustained winds of 74 miles per hour or higher. Umberto is still a major Category 4 hurricane right now. It is going to miss Bermuda. It's forecast to move off to the north before getting pushed out to sea and weakening as it moves into the cooler waters of the central northern Atlantic, and also runs into a bit more perhaps a wind shear later in its journey. Imelda is forecast to actually strengthen a little bit and makes a run directly toward Bermuda. So we'll be watching that very closely. This does not pose any risk to the U.S., but you'll note the curve in both of the tracks. And that is related to that cold front that you see here on this map. So that front that moves through here and then gets moves past the mid-Atlantic and runs into these two systems will help deflect them out to sea. So Umberto and Imelda will both eventually move away from the United States, meaning there's no direct threat to the U.S. High pressure behind that front will settle in and keep us dry. So that's the driving force for our weather over the next 7 days. Temperatures today peaked between about 75 and 80. Groton was the cool spot today with a high temperature of 71. Now, compared to yesterday at this time, many towns are at least a few degrees cooler, if not several degrees cooler, putting actual air temperatures in the 50s and 60s. 54 in Salisbury, 55 in Norwich, 57 in Groton, but elsewhere about 60 to 65 degrees. Typically this time of year, the high temperature would be around 70, low would be around 48. So we were certainly above normal for the high, and we will stay milder than normal for the low too. Temperatures falling out of the 60s and into the 50s as the night goes on. Mostly cloudy skies through the remainder of the night too. That will help prevent things like fog from forming. We'll say 50 to 55 inland, 55 to 60 along the shoreline. So we're not quite 10 degrees above normal, but it is certainly warmer than where we typically would be this time of year. But that's great news. As you step out the door tomorrow morning, you don't need to really worry too much about grabbing extra layers. Temperatures will climb quickly by lunchtime tomorrow. By the middle of the day, we're talking mid, if not upper 70s, with temperatures peaking on either side of 80 degrees yet again. So expect another warm day. Temperatures start to fall back a little bit tomorrow evening, and we will certainly see the cloudiness move on out to increasing sunshine as the day goes on. But there's a bit of a catch here as we get into the evening hours tomorrow. So we have that front that helps deflect Umberto away from us. We are trapped between high pressure building in and Umberto moving out. And that is going to help to bring breezy conditions starting later tomorrow evening, lasting through the day Wednesday. It's not until that high moves in overhead late Wednesday and especially into Thursday where we really see the wind calm down. We're not expecting damaging wind gusts or anything like that, but gusts tomorrow, especially in the evening hours, could be up between about 15 and 20 miles an hour. Tomorrow night, 20 to 25 miles per hour, and we'll see those wind gusts peak, say, early Wednesday morning before subsiding later Wednesday, and especially into Wednesday night and Thursday. With the wind around, there are small craft advisories and gale watches out for much of the shoreline. Rough seas can be expected starting later tomorrow, lasting into late Wednesday. And that also means a higher rip current risk. This does coincide with some briefly cooler air, so perhaps not too many people at the beach trying to go in the water, but we are giving the first alert that rip currents will be a bit higher. For as far as allergens go, given the higher pollen counts, thanks to the dry air, you'll note a slight increase there, ragweed, sagebush, as we get through Wednesday and into Thursday. We're still not looking at anything too high, not too impactful, but if you're very sensitive to either of these, well, you'll notice it as we get into especially the middle of the week. Temperatures will go from 79 tomorrow to 68 on Wednesday, 65 Thursday, and it's Thursday night into Friday where we see the potential for some upper 30s. With high pressure moving in, as winds go calm, we will see temperatures fall back quickly. And if we can actually see some upper 30s in the mix, perhaps we can't even rule out some frost in the higher elevations. Now, this is actually pretty typical for this time of year. The normal time frame where we see the first frost in northwestern and northeastern Connecticut, October 1st through 10th. Throughout the rest of inland Connecticut, October 11th through 20th. And the shoreline is October 21st and later. Some parts of southwestern Connecticut, even closer to, say, early November. So not too out of the ordinary to start talking about some chillier nights this time of year. Here are the averages for October. Normal high on October 1st is 70. Normal low is 48. By the end of the month, 58 is the normal high, 38 is the normal low. And we do average about 4.52 inches of precip. In other words, rainfall, and maybe the liquid equivalent of anything frozen, because in the month of October, we do average 0.7 of an inch of snow. The record high is 91. That's the monthly record high. It's happened twice, once on October 2nd, 1927, once on October 7th, 1963. And while we are forecasting things to be unseasonably warm next week, we're not quite challenging records, at least not yet. We, of course, will watch to see if that changes. The record low for the month, 17. That was on October 18th of 1978. When it comes to the wettest, 16.32 inches of precip in 2005. And, of course, everyone remembers Winter Storm Alfred in 2011, 12.3 inches of snow. So certainly one to be remembered there, the nor'easter that canceled Halloween. As we approach the start of November, the normal high goes from 70 October 1st to 57 by November 1st to 45 by December 1st. So we're at that time of the year where we start to see these bigger changes when it comes to the normals, and they also, it's the next 6 weeks where we see some of the biggest changes. They slow down as we get into into December and the start of meteorological winter. Something else that changes a lot this time of year, the color of the leaves. 1 week from today, we're expecting to see more moderate color across northwestern and northeastern parts of the state. Still low color for the 91 and 95 corridors and the 395 corridor. That, of course, changes as we get into the middle of the month, especially if we can mix in some more cool nights. We'll start to see more in the way of vibrant color, too. It is worth mentioning, though, the 8 to 14 day outlook here, which brings us from October 7th through the 13th, so approaching the midpoint of the month, showing deep shades of red. Very high likelihood that temperatures remain above normal. Normal will be falling, so we don't know how much above normal or how warm things will be, but the pattern still favors warmth. October 12th, just about 2 weeks from where we are right now, sunrise, 7 a.m., and by October 21st, a little over 3 weeks from right now, sunset back in the 5 o'clock hour. So the takeaway on this first alert 7-day forecast is that you need to water your mums. The second takeaway is that we have a very brief cool spell, lasts for a couple days, and really, while it's cool compared to where we've been, it's close to where we typically would be this time of year. Temperatures begin recovering Friday, and then we're back to above average Saturday. Great news for anyone heading to the rent. You can show up in shorts and a t-shirt. By Monday, we are back between the 80 and 85 degree range. We'll have much more for you coming up on the Wax at 10 o'clock, and you can join Mark Dixon tonight at 11. Hope you all had a great Monday, great start to the week. We'll see you with our next First Alert Weather Extra 8 a.m. tomorrow, streaming live on WFSB+.